I want to take a few minutes to talk about Niagara's Regional Development Charges, or RDCs. When new homes or businesses are built, we refer to it as growth. Growth brings with it the need for new infrastructure, as well as the expansion of programs and services for the new population. Regional Development Charges are fees issued to the person or business responsible for the growth. RDCs are used to pay for the costs associated with this development. The idea behind development charges is that growth pays for growth. If RDCs didn't exist, the cost associated with growth would be passed on to the current taxpayers, potentially raising property taxes for everyone. Growth-related items that can be paid for by a regional development charge include roads, water and sewage infrastructure, police services, ambulances, certain social services, and waste diversion. It's important to mention that development charges shouldn't be confused with property taxes. While property taxes pay for the operating and maintenance cost of current programs, services, and infrastructures, development charges only pay for the capital costs related to new growth. So, how do we calculate regional development charges? Well, before getting into the actual calculation, it's critical to mention that all development charges in Ontario are governed by the Development Charges Act. This act spells out what items can be included as part of a regional development charge and how much of those items can be paid for through DCs. The province also forecasts population growth for the region, which is allocated across the 12 municipalities. Remember, the idea is that growth should pay for growth. If a piece of infrastructure is also going to benefit the existing population, development charges aren't expected to pay the full amount. Knowing that we have provincial guidelines in place, the region gets to work and does a number of complex studies to determine what types of projects or increased services will be required to support the projected growth. Once the list of projects for the entire region is compiled, their value is added up, then divided by the projected growth amount. In the case of residential development, a flat per unit fee is established. For commercial and industrial developments, a per square foot rate is the outcome. Let's look at an example of how this all works. Say we have a region with 12 homes. All of the infrastructure and services required for those homes is in place and supported through property taxes. One day, a developer comes along and wants to build 10 new homes. While this is great news for the region, it also brings with it new costs. In our example, the new homes will need new water and sewage pipes, new roads, and an additional ambulance to service their neighborhoods. Finally, a water treatment plant will be required for the city receiving the most growth. Let's say all this infrastructure costs $100,000. To calculate our DC amount, we have to divide the $100,000 cost by the 10 new homes to arrive at a development charge of $10,000 per unit. In order to receive a building permit, each of these units will pay this DC to cover their share of growth-related costs. As development charges are one-time fees, once the new capital infrastructure is built, its operation and upkeep will be paid for through property taxes. The last important thing to remember about regional development charges is that there are programs in place to reduce the amount of RDCs that are paid. This includes reductions for industrial growth, brownfield remediation, and development which meets certain smart growth criteria. The programs are designed to incentivize job growth, clean up contaminated lands, and reward those whose development is contributing to complete communities. To learn more about regional development charges and reduction programs, visit niagararegion.ca.